Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Jenn Tasnim Savage. She is a spiritual guide, healer, and mentor. And I am so excited to have you on the Spiritual Spotlight series. Thank you so much for coming on today, Jenn.
I'm so happy to be here, Rachel. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, I'm so excited. Now, Jenn has been doing this work for over 20 years. Her mission is to trust yourself and keep following the path you know deep down to be true. So, what I kind of want to dive into in the beginning is kind of tell us a little bit about your spiritual awakening. And before you answer that, the reason why I want to dive into that is because prior to starting this interview, we were both talking about how right now the world as it is really feels like a lot of people are going through a spiritual awakening and they're looking for spiritual guides and teachers such as yourself. So I really feel like your awakening story is just as important as the work that you're currently doing. So I'm
Well,
ready.
yeah, thank you. And I'll be very brief because I know our time is short today,
Take
but
as much time as you want.
I actually lost my partner by way of suicide
Yeah, which is
in
a
my
very
20s.
stressful event.
Right. And so it was life-changing, as you can imagine. And
Yeah.
so 6 months after his death, we lived together at the time. So I was in our apartment and it was his birthday, and I was sitting on the sofa trying to figure out, how do I celebrate him? How do I
Yeah.
honor him? Like, it was the first significant,
Like
day
event.
after
Yeah.
he passed away.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was sitting on my sofa thinking like, oh, should I watch some like ridiculous rom-com movies that he loved, or
Yeah.
like, just trying to figure out like, how am I going to spend the day? And I got this like feeling deep inside of me that I needed to get in my car and go for a drive.
I love that.
So it's October in Portland.
Which
It's
is cold.
pouring rain. It's cold. And I'm like, and I was so depressed. I mean, to be really honest, like, I was underneath
Yeah.
his blanket on our sofa, staring out the window, like, not a chance. Like, there is
Aw.
no way I'm gonna get dressed and
Yeah.
go for a drive. I mean, it was the most ridiculous
Mhm.
sort of like feeling. And as we do, when we get the call, I resisted.
Don't we all?
That voice just kept like, get in the car and go for a drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And he like, no. And
Mm.
it was hours. I was like, no, and it kept
Hours. This went
coming,
on for
hours,
hours.
hours.
Oh my
And
goodness.
finally I was like, all right, like, it's not leaving me.
Right.
So I need to get in the car and go. But I have no idea where I'm going. Right. I mean, it was the most ridiculous, like, where am I driving to? I have
Oh
no
my
idea.
gosh.
And so I'm in the car, it's pouring rain.
Hmm.
I have no idea where I'm going. And suddenly I find myself on going east on I-84 out the Columbia Gorge.
Yeah.
Massive windstorm is like throwing my car around. The water is splashing up like
Oh my
just like to
goodness.
and I'm just thinking like, this is like, this is insane. Like, what am I doing out
Yeah.
here? None of it made sense.
Right.
And so I just kept driving, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to Eagle Creek. And Eagle Creek was a place that when Jay graduated from high school, he had his parents drop him off there, and he took a 10-day solo hike to Mount Hood as this
Wow.
like coming, like a,
Yeah.
coming of age ritual that he took himself on. And
Wow.
I suddenly was like, oh, that's where I'm going. I just knew in my whole being that's where I
Hmm.
was going. And so I get, and I take the exit, park the car, and again, it's pouring rain. So I'm just like, I'll just enjoy the trees
Yeah. Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
car, I'm like, I'm not going to get out. And needless to say, resistance came again, right? It's like, I don't like to be cold. I don't like to be wet. I'm not one of these outdoorsy, like, I'm going to
Yeah.
go for a hike no matter what kind of people. So I get out of the car, my hat blows off, like, it's just like this massive
It's like
gust of
so
wind.
much. Yeah.
It's so much. So I jump back in the car and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't, like, it's too much. And it turns out that I did do it, because
Right.
the call, this thing inside of our heart that's really guiding us, doesn't
Yeah.
let up, especially
No.
during these pivotal, important moments. And so, of course, I ended up going into the woods, cross the bridge into the woods. And the moment I stepped in there was this silence, because there were so many leaves that hadn't fallen from the trees
Right.
yet. And I just felt protected in this womb, and was like, oh, like this peace kind of descended over me. I'm
Right.
like, all right, I can do this. And so I continued the hike up the mountain, and there were trees,
Mhm.
downed trees to climb over, and lots of obstacles and points in the trail where I didn't know where I was going, but I just kept one step at a time going up
Yeah.
the mountain. And I got to the top. There were lots of things that happened I mean, it was a day-long journey, right? It was like lots of things happened.
Right.
But I got to the top, ran to the lookout at the top of where I was at.
Mhm.
Um, and there was a rainbow that connected the Oregon side of the border to the Washington side across the Columbia Gorge. Like the clouds literally parted. The sun is like, shining down on me, and I just fell to my knees sobbing. And it was just like the message that came was like because I'm thanking God for
Yeah, of
this
course.
exquisite experience. It's just like I can't believe what's actually happening,
Yeah.
right? And it was like thanking God for this experience. And the message was thank yourself for having the courage to show up. And tears are just like streaming down my face. And it was like the miracle that is your life is waiting for
Mm.
you. And it requires that you show up for it, right? So I'm sort of getting
Absolutely.
this download message, and then I'm just sitting there on the edge of the cliff taking this all of this in,
Mhm.
and an eagle flew overhead, and like I knew it was Jay on his birthday saying like, I've got you, we're okay,
Yeah.
and it's time for you to move on. And there was just all these messages about that. And then I came back down the mountain, had my experience of the descension of the hero's journey, as we do,
Yeah.
and, have spent the last 20 years really integrating like, what does it mean to not be driven by fear, to not let my depression take me off the rails, to continually show up for my life and these miracles and this unfolding of my own spiritual journey. And then I realized 20 years later, right? And it's interesting that you should know this is the week Jay died. Like, I don't know the exact date he died, but I just realized this is the week he passed away.
I have chills. Pushing you
That's,
forward some more.
I mean, really, right? And showing the readiness that we were
Yes.
talking about of like, it's time to tell the story. It's time to take the work out into the world because that's my destiny.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
here to help remind people that no matter how dark it gets, how hard our human experience has been or feels right now, that the love is available and that there is purpose and meaning to our unfolding.
I have so many questions. That is so powerful. And you brought up a good thing about we do encounter resistance when divine source, our guides, we do have our spiritual family that is trying to kind of help us navigate this path and to show us that no matter what, you're going to be okay. But
Yeah.
like you pushed up against that resistance, but you were able to overcome it, reach the top of the mountain and see the rainbow and see Jay flying across it to say, you know what? No matter
Yeah.
what, you're going to be okay. I love
Yeah.
that. I'm going to cry.
I mean, really, because it's the
It's
metaphor for our
profound.
life,
It
right? It
is.
really is the metaphor of like, it's going to
Yeah.
be hard and you're going to come to
Yes.
places in the trail where you don't know which way to go. And we
Right.
have to build that trust with our intuition. And it doesn't matter what's happening outside of us
Right.
or what
And
other people expect or want. It's like, what is right and true and real for us? And do we have the
absolutely.
courage to act on that, to give voice to that, to trust in that?
And to also be okay with getting out of the well.
Yeah.
With you and I have both, I am also someone who's, had gone through depression for many, many years, and the same thing with you. And it's, sometimes you do feel like you're in the well. And then, but now, I would ask you this with your spiritual journey and kind of being the founder of the healer's journey, and there's other things that you offer. Do you find yourself when you know that you're kind of wobbling a little bit, you're like, okay, how do you know how to now get yourself out of the well and how to move forward with the tools now that you've obtained with your spiritual journey?
I think that's such a great question. And I think for such a long time I was running like, I didn't want to even admit I was in the well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, I'm like
We're perfect.
frantically trying, and I'm going to heal all the things and I'm going to do it. And I'm just
Mm.
like, and what I've realized is like, what the path requires is submission
Oh,
or
amen.
surrender. It's like, you know
Amen.
what? On your knees in the dark. Okay, I give everything to the wisdom of the universe,
Mm.
and I just stopped trying, right? And so it was a year and a half ago. I have a very complicated relationship with my family, and I
Mm.
went back home to visit, and it re-traumatized, so like re-triggered some trauma in my
Yeah.
life. And it was like, okay, this is my next level of healing. And I
Yeah.
have spent the last year and a half in a death process. Like I'm
Oh.
dying. I'm laying the lies at the altar, right?
Mm.
So it's like I'm in the well.
Yeah.
It's dark. I've been in the well. It's been very dark and cold and wet,
Yeah.
which I now know is the feminine, right? It's the yin,
Ooh.
it's the
Yes.
earth. It's the thing that as spiritual beings, we try really hard to not, we don't want to be in our bodies. We have resistance to being in the density of the planet, right? And it's
Yes.
like what I've discovered is like she is the magic, the darkness, that
Mm.
thing I call heaviness, that thing I call depression. It is
Yes.
the portal and the doorway to treasures I am only just beginning to discover, which is interesting for me because I went to the top of the mountain that had
Yeah.
meaning. And now I'm like, I've
Now you're
made
going
the
down.
descent. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the way. And I'm like just stripping off the layers of
Yeah.
like, oh, the conditioning, the lies, it's like, and I'm nothing. And then in the nothingness is the everything, which is a spiritual concept that is
Yes.
hard to understand unless you're actually like in it.
That
So
is fascinating because you're right. It is. That's so. I'm like now. Of course, I'm like going off on a whole nother topic. It is. I want to ask you this. Do you feel right now in this time that we're in that the real spiritual feminine is what's rising? Like the feminine is what's
absolutely. It is
coming
the
up.
cosmic mother. It is, yes. The
Yes. Oh, I love
patriarchy
this.
is
It's
like,
like
all the distortion is crumbling.
yes.
All the like systems in the world, it's our
This
education
yes.
system, our financial system, our
Yes.
healthcare, it's
Everything is
all breaking down.
yeah.
And it's like and we have to heal the masculine in our own hearts.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
we have to be in right relationship with
Mhm.
what that divine masculine
Mhm.
is, so the feminine can really come forward, flourish in the way that she's meant to, in the
That
way that
is
we're meant to as women.
absolutely. And the thing is, the other thing I want to speak to about your journey is you've been on this path for a long time.
I have.
So, in the fact that you can acknowledge that one, the healing's never finished, and the
Right.
journey also is never finished. Yes,
No, till we take our last breath. Like this is what
amen.
we're here for, like
But with your wisdom and everything, you've been able to develop signature healing programs and ways to help people along. But I love the fact that you're like, no, I can be brought back down to my knees, and I can be brought back down to kind of I want to say back to the middle, with the mother and with source. And it's almost like I know that with your partner committed suicide, my brother committed suicide, and he was about, I think it's been about 7, 8 years now. And it's
Mhm.
funny how you're like, it brings you back to your knees and in the dark. And I remember, and the only reason why I'm saying this, I remember because I've been on the spiritual path a long time, same with you. And this just happened, like for me, it feels recent, but it's not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But brought me back to my knees, back to
Yeah.
surrender to divine, back to kind of
Like
solidifying.
trusting the bigger, right.
Yes.
Having to
Yes.
trust divine wisdom in all
Hmm.
things, right?
I remember,
And it's that
yeah, going,
spiral.
yes,
It's like we just keep spiraling.
yes.
And there's like the ascension for
Hmm.
the connection to source,
Yeah.
but then there's the what I'm
Meant to
mastering
be.
now
Yeah.
is the descension down into the
Yeah.
feminine, into the nothingness.
Then I love this. And it is fascinating because it almost re-solidifies your mission, your purpose. Like for you, like this really like was the catalyst in you going for your mission and really like, okay, now I can do this, but acknowledging the fact that there's gonna be moments and times where we're gonna hit some bumps, and that's
Yes.
okay. Because I would ask you, when you went back for your family and your family. I hear you choose your family, and sometimes it may not, you may
Yes.
not feel that's the right choice, but there's always lessons to be learned. I would
Always.
ask you, like, did you kind of look at that moment with your family, maybe from a different lens of, okay, there might be some things here that I've got to work through because some things are popping up for me.
Yeah, I mean, really briefly, what it is
Sure.
like I come from a family with a lot of violence and addiction.
Mm.
And I lost my sister a couple of years
Oh, I'm
ago
sorry.
to addiction,
Oh.
and my dad is an alcoholic. So,
Mm.
and he is in a very, I mean, he's at late stages in his disease.
Yeah.
And what I realized, not only did I have to go back and sort of revisit some of the fear patterns
Of
that
course.
that were, reactivated in that
Hmm.
environment, but it was like, I made it.
Yes.
Like I
You
made
came out the
it.
other side.
And it was like, and that sort of frantic thing we were talking about of like, we work so hard to,
Yes.
to heal and to fix things
Yeah.
and to, and it's like, oh no, I just accepted, like, okay, I have cPTSD. This is doesn't make me defective. There is
Yeah.
nothing wrong with me because I live with this patterning
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
my childhood.
Hmm.
I have the capacity to meet my triggers and
Mm.
understand and know myself intimately.
Hmm.
And then the deeper piece of like the relief of like, I made it. Like, whatever it is for me that may have tipped back into old patterning
Mm.
or sabotaged my growth through just those old terrifying
Yeah.
storylines or the fear, or it's like, oh my gosh, I'm free. Like I actually, in this identity death process,
Mm.
I was like, I could die. I really could die. And
Yeah.
I am so at peace with who I am.
Oh, I love that.
Like I have gotten to a place where the shame doesn't run my
Yeah.
life. I'm not hiding out of, afraid of who I am, my
Yeah.
bigness or my, and it was like, oh, and so now I just am, I have this deep peace that I know as
Love
I
that.
navigate the next,
Hmm.
2.5 decades of my life, those hard things aren't going to stop happening. I just am
Oh,
more resourced to be with whatever it is the universe brings me for my learning.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, this is all powerful. This is all very powerful. And one thing I always say to a lot of people is that we don't realize how far up on the mountain we are because we're still in the trees. Like,
Right.
it's like we never quite know, but you're very much like, I mean, this is profound. Like, you're trusted, you listen to your intuitive messages no matter what, even though you came up with fear and resistance, you're like, I'm still going to go down this path, which is a lot of what your work is about, to kind of help your clients to trust yourself and trust this path. And let's
Right.
talk a little bit about, I know that you're the soul strategist and founder of the Healer's Journey. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like it really is the hero's journey, right?
Oh, I
But for
love that.
healers, I sort of like adapted it to this idea when you're
Mm-hmm.
highly sensitive, you come into this world with a lot of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
you immediately feel like you don't belong in the family structure
Mm.
you're born in, right? We have all of these ways that we don't fit. And yet this is what we chose. This is whatever our soul is here for, like this, like we're here to bring in some kind of wisdom, some kind
Yeah.
of light, some kind of healing. And the journey of our life is preparation for that wisdom to develop. And so I find that I've been in the healing field, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And now for the last 10 or 12 years, I've been helping healers create their program,
I love that.
write their book. It's like, what is the wisdom you are
Mm-hmm.
here to bring through? And shifting it from, yes, there's a personal story, but how does that then be relevant to people who are also seeking and searching and waking up and looking for medicine,
Yeah.
right? So helping them really craft their message on their website. So it's identifying their target market and doing these
That's
things.
perfect.
But it's their sacred work, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not like you're making a widget and there's no personal component to it. It's like, it's very vulnerable work.
Yeah.
We have to find our voice. We have to understand our value. We have to be willing to be visible, to put it out into the world. And so it's like, when your nervous system is still activated in
Mm.
ways like your trauma patterns aren't healed, or
Yeah.
that feels too vulnerable to do, the work I help is really preparing the system
Mm.
for the intense sensation that comes with visibility and giving birth to whatever it is that your soul is here to share.
And you're right. Being a spiritual entrepreneur is not the same as just being an entrepreneur.
No, it's
You know,
very
there,
different.
yeah, it's very different because you come into, I would imagine, limitations, limiting beliefs, a fear of being vulnerable, a fear of being seen. How many healers do you know have taken a vow of poverty? You know,
That's a
don't,
huge one. Exactly. It's like, and this is what we're here to shift.
right.
Like we get caught in the story of the
Mm,
thing and all the evidence of why it's true, and
yeah.
we forget, like, this is what I actually came. I mean, this is true. We were talking about the feminine earlier. It's like,
Hmm.
I'm born in a female body, so guess what? I'm going to know what victimization feels like. I'm going to feel what it to be the lesser than is going to be a
Hmm.
template in this cosmic way for who I am. My value is not as great because these are the stories that the patriarchy tells. And so as a feminine healer, you know, we have all of these storylines we came to evolve, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's my work to do.
Hmm.
So meeting it and being with it and metabolizing it in our system and moving through it is the work I really love helping
Oh,
people do.
that is phenomenal because I mean, I know so many spiritual entrepreneurs that, you know, they're not comfortable with their beautiful work. And,
Yes.
you know, like
And
even
it's
yes,
tragic.
yeah, it's tragic. Like
It's tragic.
even yesterday, I love getting readings and healings, and you know, because I want to be able to sample everything.
I know, me too.
I'm like, but you know, because I want to be able to, like, if I'm going to refer Jenn, I want to know what Jenn offers and her
Right.
flavor and her style. And even yesterday, I had a beautiful reading, and I said, okay, give me your Venmo information. How much is the session? She's like, oh no, no, it's free. I'm like, no, like.
Yeah.
How much? Like, no, like we're having an energetic exchange. Like, you need to put there's value in the services that you're
Right.
providing. And I just, even now, I'm like, so I mean, we bartered, which is fine, but I'm not gonna just like,
Yeah.
it's so disheartening. And I would
Well, and
imagine,
that's the
oh,
early part of the healer's journey,
yes,
right? It's like they don't understand. It's like, and it's getting over, like, it's so easy for me. It feels like, so, you know, how do I then monetize it?
of
Because that
course,
feels a little like yucky, you know, like,
like
and so it's
scammy.
like yeah, and we have to figure out, it's like you said, it's an energy exchange. And
Yeah.
one of the exercises I do in the sacred work is an intuitive pricing exercise.
Ooh, I love
And
that.
it's like, stop trying to follow a template of
Mm,
something outside of you that's inauthentic.
mm,
Your nervous system can hold, there's a stretch number
mm,
and a too low number and a
mm.
just right number. And how do we find that in your own system so you can stabilize the just right number and start stretching over time to your stretch number, right?
Yeah.
And but we can't receive more than our nervous system can hold.
100%.
That's just, and our friendships, how much love, how much
Absolutely.
money,
With
all of those
everything,
things
doesn't
are
matter. Yeah.
reflected in that. And so
Mhm.
what I love working on clients with, especially healers, is expanding that capacity for more. And it's more, if we just take it down to our nervous system, it's sensation.
Right.
Because what often happens with unresolved trauma is sensation is scary,
Mm,
and we start feeling unsafe. So we shut
100%.
down and we keep ourselves in these small boxes, hiding out, playing small,
Yeah.
undervaluing our services, when it's like, okay, and if you were here to actually metabolize that and move beyond that, the possibility, the expansion of the path and the authenticity of your,
Yeah.
what your soul is bringing through, it's like, that's the messy, shadowy, you know, stuff that we get to be with and actually heal, so that you can grow and have a greater impact, and more light is in the world, and it has this impact
Yeah.
that then goes out into the world.
And I would ask you this, like, do your clients really resist that intuitive challenge of feeling into, like, you know, how much money they want to charge?
You know, it actually has the opposite effect,
Ooh.
because when we're in our mind and we're like, I'm going to charge this thing, it's not landed in
Mm-mm.
anything. But
Mm-mm.
when you get it in your body,
Yes.
when the divine is showing you the right number for you, you cannot argue with it. So it
I
might
love
be
that.
uncomfortable, but it's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when truth is present in anything, no matter how uncomfortable it is, your whole being can get on board because it's
Absolutely.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
Consciousness can work with that, even if it's uncomfortable. But
Uh,
what we do is often have these external sort of goals and plans and things that they're not grounded or rooted in anything meaningful, or we're not in
mm-hmm.
relationship with them intimately enough for it to actually be the thing that moves us forward. So this exercise I found has the opposite effect of,
Oh,
oh my gosh, it's undeniable that this is my
like
number.
this is it.
And it might take me a while to get comfortable with
Right.
that, but it's that knowing
Mm-hmm.
that we can then build on. So we, and we can start small if it's too stretchy. Like we can't get out of our window of tolerance,
Of
because then
course.
we won't be able to have the sales conversation or speak the number out, So, it's a process of growing that, but it's work I love doing.
That's perfect. And is that so you have your healer's journey, and is that your sacred work? I know that that's also another program that you offer.
Well,
Or the
your
different
like the
things.
healer's journey
It's
is sort of
everything that you
like
do.
that. This is sort of the journey we're on,
Gotcha.
right? Like nuts to bolts, A to Z,
Gotcha.
spirit to earth, human, spirit to human kind of experience. And I'm working on a book actually called Tending the Garden of the Human Heart. And it's
Ooh.
kind of outlining, yeah, we're going to till the soil, and what seeds are we planting, and all of our conditioning. And so that's sort of the overarching
I like
healer's
that.
journey, right?
Yeah.
We come into a body, we have our experience, and like, what is that? And so
Mhm.
laying that out in that way. And then your sacred work is really for spiritual
Oh, gotcha.
entrepreneurs and
Okay.
healers that want to build the business.
Gotcha.
And how do we extract that? And how do we work on the pricing?
Hmm.
And what is the program? And it doesn't want to be a book. It doesn't want to be a group program. Are you doing one-on-one work? So
Yeah.
the sacred work is really putting a container around your
Nice.
work as a healer, a coach, a practitioner, all of those things.
And with your sacred work, do you is that like a certain long period? Like is it a 6 month journey, or is that dependent on what I'm looking for as a spiritual entrepreneur?
It really depends on how long have you been
Gotcha.
in business, where are you
Okay.
at, like, what, and really, like, because I now have 12 years in marketing and
I love
online
it.
sales and all this
Yeah.
stuff, which was sort of an accidental thing. I was learning it for myself. I was like, oh, you're Trixie universe. Like I never like thought I was going to be helping other
Of
people with
course.
this. And so now I just have a lot of accumulated knowledge, and it's really
Gotcha.
like, where are you at? How much money are you making
Hmm.
versus how much do you want to invest for this
Of
next piece
course.
that needs to happen? So I have a client right now that I've been working with for 5 years.
I
She's
love
like, I can't
that.
imagine not ever having you on my team. I created a 2-year sound healing certification with her. We've run it like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, I
And
love
I
that.
go to be on site with her.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
sort of become this like all encompassing, like I'm
Yeah.
just her like right hand person,
That's
and helped her raise
amazing.
her prices and help her really step
Yeah.
into her expertise. And then I have a client who's like, oh, I just want to rewrite the copy on my website and figure out like, how do I really, so it's like, we're going to work together for 3 months and the project will be done, and she may
Perfect.
or may not continue,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it really is different just based on where somebody is and what their immediate need is.
That's perfect. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about the book that you're developing? Because that sounds really cool.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I mean, it really, I feel like, Jay died. I was in my, right at my Saturn return, and I'm almost at my Chiron return. So it's been this like 23-year long journey,
Yes.
right? And I just feel like I had the experience, I've integrated the
Hmm.
lessons,
Hmm.
and now I know some things, like
Just a little
I
bit.
I have some understanding of what it's like to be a sensitive human on this
Of
planet,
course.
and
Yeah.
what spirit is like, consciousness is trying to evolve, and how we're meeting the all the shadow stuff, all the dense stuff of our humanity and
Hmm.
our family lineage and our ancestry, and how the evolution of that. So I'm just like, oh, there's a body of work here. So it's my own sacred work, right? It's my own, the reflection of, oh yeah, there's some stuff here. So
Hmm.
I've got like piles of notes all around
That is
me. I'm just
amazing.
constantly like, okay, this is that story that goes here. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
It's almost like pulling together. I mean, it's pulling together your life body's work. And
it
then
is.
it sounds like it's also going to help people through their own spiritual awakening.
Exactly. To really understand. It's like, because for me, I always thought there was something wrong with me.
Oh,
And, that was, I'll be 50 this year. So it was a long time ago. What we are aware of in the global sort of cosmic, like, it's different now. We have language for trauma. We have
mhm.
new understandings of what's happening. But back then, like,
We
nobody was
didn't.
talking about spirituality or
No,
having psychic gifts, or like, this
no.
wasn't normalized in any way. So I just always felt like, oh, there's something wrong with me, and that, like, I don't belong here. And like my journey of like, oh, you actually chose to be here. You're here for a reason. So it's just shifting some of those storylines. And
And did you always feel like that even from, like, as a young child up
my first
until
memory is actually before I was born.
oh my
My
goodness.
first, and it was sort of this like, no, I did not sign up to be in a woman's body. I did not sign up for this crazy ass family. Like, and just like that betrayal, like what I always interpreted as betrayal of God, of like, you got it wrong. Like, no, I don't want to do this.
Oh
And
my
of course, I
gosh.
was born into a family. My dad wanted a son. I was hyper masculinized. I can't even say that word, but over masculine,
Yeah,
because I was trying to be something he wanted. Being a female in my family lineage was not safe. And so I resisted it. I didn't want to be anything like my mom, because
right,
she like was this, victim in this dynamic with my dad. And so I'm just like, okay, I've resisted this my whole life.
right.
I've sort of hated this body, and I'm like, oh, but what if I actually came to learn the secrets of the feminine?
Right.
What
Yeah,
if there is magic and mystery and power in the feminine that in my family lineage doesn't exist, but is awakening in me
of
now,
course.
right? And
Mhm.
that's what feels really juicy about my life right now. I have descended down into my root. I am
Mhm.
connected to my body, and
Yeah,
I'm sort of like in that place of, submission, which the feminine does, right? It's like she's
mm.
blind, she can't see, and she trusts. When
Mm,
she trusts, that's when the miracles start happening. So for me, it's the marriage of spirit and matter.
that is
It is
amazing.
divine light
Mhm.
and the earth. It is spirit and body. It is. And so for me, it's like, what is the holy marriage of those things? Like,
Yeah.
that's what lights me up right now. It's like the
And d
coming together of these things that have felt for me for
right.
so long to be so separate.
That fascinates me that your first memory was even before you were in a body. I
Yeah.
love
It's
that.
like, ah!
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh shit, no, like, can I change my mind? But it's like, that's the level of resistance that I've
Yes.
had. Like, okay. And it's like, what is the wisdom of that? If
Right.
I can resist that heavily, what does saying yes that completely mean for me as a soul, actually coming to have a human experience, which is
Yeah.
what we're here to do.
And it also, for what I'm hearing is, and this may not be accurate, is that part of your mission is to overcome resistance and to how to empower yourself
Yeah.
to kind of overcome this, like, because you've had resistance before you were even in the body. Like,
Right. And it's like, and the thing about it is like not believing the lies.
yes.
I mean, part of my resistance as an advanced, I don't want to say an advanced soul because that sounds a little egoic, but it's like my consciousness is advanced.
Of
Like,
course.
I understand that
Right.
now as
Yeah.
part of my, oh, I resisted it because I knew what a shit show my human
Right.
being part of me was gonna have, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's like, that's where the beauty and the grace and the
It is.
wisdom is. And if I can say yes, I mean, this is the thing of full acceptance, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And then it's like, look at all the challenges I had to overcome. There's definitely like a warrior, some kind of like strength in me about, yeah, I've had a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. And somehow that's part of
And how to
my
overcome those challenges and to be
exactly.
empowered and to be able to
Yeah.
share your wisdom and gifts with other, beings, and to
Yeah.
also help spiritual entrepreneurs get their gifts out to a massive stage. I
Yeah.
mean, all of that is profound. Like, it's
Yeah.
almost
And
like
to
walking
not
up
to
the
stop, because it's
yeah,
hard. It's really
it's so
hard.
hard. It's so hard. There have been moments, and I'm not sure for you, where I've been off my path for like a year or so, and I really questioned everything it was that I did, and I was like, ah, yeah. Like, and then it's like, no, 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 get back on it.
Exactly. I always talk about this like I've wandered off in the weeds, you know. I'm like out, it's like, and out in the weeds is still part of the
Yes,
path.
it
It's
is.
just like, how hard do we want the experience to be? Do
Right.
we want to stay out here in suffering and struggle, in
So true.
self-doubt, in victimization, in, you know, or do we want to honor our truth and be on the path that
Yeah.
is for us?
And to surrender to grace and ease and divine, and know that no
Exactly.
matter what, we'll be okay. And that grace, the divine has us. No, and do we, like you said, do you want your path to be super hard,
Right.
or do
And
you
we're
want,
addicted. I mean, we become addicted to the difficulty too. I mean, that's
yes,
part of
and
the
the
thing.
chaos.
We have to rewire our nervous
Mm,
system to like, because we get addicted to the negative
yes.
thinking, we get addicted to the drama in our relationship
Mm,
patterns. It is such a distraction. And it's the thing we came here to work through, to say
you're,
no to close the door to not be, it's like having boundaries, having all of the, having a powerful no
yes,
to what isn't authentic and honoring of our path, no matter the cost, right?
no matter the
And it's
cost.
like, and these are the muscles we're building along the way.
I feel like you bring up a whole nother topic that we should probably delve into in another episode, of like victim mindset and
Yeah.
being addicted. You're right. Being addicted to the chaos. And
Yeah.
oh, yes, I
And
know.
because for our nervous system, if we have,
It's like,
and we all do,
woo.
because the world is chaotic, right? We
Yes.
live in,
Mm-hmm.
our family dynamics are usually, there's some level of chaos and dysfunction
Tell the
and all
truth.
of this stuff. And so it's like that then feels familiar.
Yeah. And it feels
So
okay
we
and
just
safe.
keep recreate exactly. We
Mm-hmm.
keep recreating it, even though our soul
Yeah.
is like, not this, you know, like not this. And then we're sort of, you know, in my Sufi path, there's a concept of like, you know, the inner war. It's like
Yeah.
light fighting dark, but it's really the conditioning in our soul trying to establish, our ego's like fighting for
Yeah.
life, when it's like your ego has to be under the foot of God and source and spirit and serving the evolution,
Yeah.
not in the driver's seat wreaking havoc and driving like a maniac. You know what
It's
I
so
mean?
true. It's so
Yeah.
true. I would say the last couple years, I've really had to disconnect from the excitement and the joy of chaos. And now it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm good. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like,
Well, and our whole identity is built around it, right? It's
yes,
like, that's what feels familiar, what feels
yes.
normal, and then it's just like, oh, and what, you know, there's a fascinating thing that I'm experiencing right
Yeah.
now. I've been single for a long time, and
Hmm.
I've started sort of dating, a little bit.
Ooh,
And I realized like my body wants something that's not good for me. My nervous system,
interesting.
because of my family lineage,
Yeah.
because of what I learned in my family dynamics, what relationship has been for me has often been unsafe and chaotic.
Yeah.
And so, and now I'm at a place where I'm like, feels really good. And no thanks.
That is fascinating.
Like, because I get lit up with the
Yes.
excitement of that thing that I know will be
Ooh.
dramatic and
Yeah.
intense and passionate,
Yeah.
and like, at a point in my life, I didn't even have standards. It was like, I'll just say yes and go off on these
Yeah.
adventures and like, what,
Do
you know, have
whatever.
a heartbreak after heartbreak in
Yeah.
this like cycle of, you know, relationship. And it's like, oh no, like there are things I require now. There are things that I know I deserve
Yeah.
now. And it's fascinating to be like, what my nervous system thinks feels good versus
Mm.
what my soul is really showing me of like old pattern, like, so,
I
and it
love
can feel
that.
like, it's like, how do you discern
Yes.
something that feels, in quotes, good, normal, safe, when it actually is the thing that's not good for you? You know, and I'm just at that like turning point of
Mm.
being able to be like, oh, I recognize this now. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's kind of hard, I have to talk myself into saying no because I'm kind of in that middle phase.
Yeah.
I'm really aware of like, oh, that thing is a no. And my body's going to go through whatever it needs to go through so I can actually say no to it and close the door to it. But I look forward to being completely on the other side where my template is something different, you
Yeah.
know, but I mean, and this is, our soma changes slowly. It takes
It's so
time for
true.
our awareness and our wisdom to be integrated and embodied. And
Absolutely.
staying, every choice point along the way helps
Mhm.
keep the chaos in line or breaks the pattern for something new.
Well, we're gonna have to touch base in a couple months and see like exactly where you are with
Exactly
this.
how it's
I'll be
unfolding.
like, so tell me, my friend,
Exactly.
what did you say no to and what did you say yes to?
Yes. Well, I look forward to that.
So to wrap this up, 2 questions. One, what is the best way for someone to get in contact with you? Is that through your website?
Yep, absolutely. It's just Jenn with 2 N savage.com.
I love
Easy.
your
And they
website.
can, thank you
Perfect.
so much. Thank you.
And then another question for anyone that may be new to their spiritual awakening journey. Do you have any piece of advice for someone that is kind of maybe a little overwhelmed or maybe needs a little assistance, just looking for one like tidbit or nugget of advice you can give?
Absolutely. The easiest thing is, if you don't mind, if we just do it right
Yes,
now,
I
is
love
like
it.
put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And just allow whatever it is you're experiencing in your environment right now to be okay. But you want to feel the weight of your hand on your belly and the way your breath feels under your heart. I guess it's not under your heart, but under your hand where your heart is. And it's just letting your mind do whatever your mind does, but connecting to your breath and bringing your attention inside. Just pulling your energy back and just noticing. Is it a sensation in your body? Is it a really strong storyline or chatter in your mind? Just feeling your feet. Just allowing your breath to move in a little more deeply into your body. It's like taking time to come back into the present moment is always a way of reconnecting. And anyone can do it anywhere at any time, no matter how busy they are, how chaotic life is, how, the to-do list is piling up. It's like, okay, just take a moment. It literally is 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then that 10 seconds becomes a minute. And then that 10 seconds becomes an hour or 10 minutes. And then you build it up so you have a practice established where you're spending time every day.
I love that.
Being present with yourself.
That's beautiful. Yes, being present is so, so important. So important, especially when you said when we're hustling and bustling, it's so important. Just be. Well, thank you, Jenn, so much for being on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I'm so grateful to have connected with you today, and I definitely look forward to interviewing you again.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.